Welcome to the Zen AF Hustle Podcast. I'm your host, Julia Garcia Devaney. I'm a life and mindset coach for female founders, and my mission is to help thousands of ambitious, busy women become the number one asset in their life and business. Tune in as I share with you the behind the scenes of my own ambitious journey and help you bring the Zen back into your hustle so you can create the impact you desire and truly love your own ambitious journey as well. Welcome, and let's get into the episode. Hello, my ambitious babes. How are you guys doing? How are you feeling? So happy to be here with you like usual. I find it kind of funny that I tend to give you guys the weather report here in Miami every single episode, but now you guys understand we just had two weird hurricanes around this area, so even though that they were not coming towards Miami, we were still kind of on alert. And now you guys know why you guys get the weather report every single time. There's nothing to write home about necessarily today with the weather, so I'll just give you guys the updates. First is my Zen AF Wellness Planner. Oh my God. So it's done in terms of the design stage. All the editing and everything like that has been done. I'm just now submitting it to my manufacturer so he could give me quotes and I can get my first sample and all the things. I've been doing a lot of back end things in terms of Amazon and just setting up my business, just so many back end things that are a little bit nitty gritty that need to be done in order to eventually produce this product. And I have to say that is actually it's starting to get scary, and there's such a huge learning curve with every stage of this process. It's the content, and then it's the design, and then there's just so much learning behind the scenes of this whole production and manufacturing process that, again, it's scary because it's there's a lot of risk involved in terms of money, and what if you do something wrong and you're sending things to ports and you're just what is what is this, all this stuff. It feels very masculine and I just haven't had to do those things in a while. So but luckily I have a great blueprint and mentor that is helping me kind of through the process. So but yeah, just the newness of it all is a little bit intimidating, but it has given me a lot of great ideas in terms of, tools and to develop and put into my Get Zen AF app. As you guys know, I'm building a ritual. Maybe you don't know, but I'm building a ritual bank in there, and it's just a bunch of, really amazing audios that are tailored towards women founders, female founders, and entrepreneurs that are running businesses. So I also do a group coaching for some ladies in the group, and I did this EFT script all about the learning curve and enjoying the risk of it all. So, and it was very, very powerful and helpful for a lot of them. So I'm definitely going to include things like that into this ritual bank. But yes, my own journey is definitely influencing so much of the content that I'm creating for all of you. And, I just can't wait to kind of bring it all together. I truly feel I'm just setting the foundation, and I feel I have been setting the foundation for so long, which can feel, I don't know how you say, but I mean, this is literally why I create the tools that I do, celebration, for instance, and celebrating all those little wins. But I do feel I've been preparing a very vast and solid foundation for my business for so long, where I feel I haven't necessarily seen the fruits of my labor necessarily, right? So I have been putting off and prolonging that, instant gratification, and obviously I really hope that it pays off one day. But I feel really great and secure in terms of really defining, who my client is and what my market is, and all of my products and all my content within it and concepts. And I wanted to share something with you today in terms of this, Zen AF hustle kind of journey in regards to motivation. So I think like today I'll stick to just one concept, but it's funny because they feed on each other. So motivation feeds on my concept, push and be kind, push and be kind feeds on consistency, consistency feeds on discipline. So I'm going to touch on some of these today, but I'm going to try to keep it on the truth about motivation today. Motivation is a big topic, and I could tell it's like a hot topic for a lot of the people that are in my audience, because I actually did a master class on this. I don't even know when, but it was fire, and it's actually inside the Get Zen AF app. If you guys ever want to hear it, I have a masterclass vault in there that you can access once you're just, for free, once you're just in the community. And there's so many great journal prompts and like things like that. I mean, like, it is super, super valuable, and super helpful. And I got so much great feedback from it. But I found it, interesting myself when I put out this, free masterclass, and so many people signed up for it and were, interested in terms of motivation. And I could totally understand it. I shouldn't have been surprised, but I could totally understand it because, I think most people think if they just had the motivation to be consistent, or the motivation to, do things because, ultimately everybody knows kind of what they need to be doing. They are just not doing it. And that's the key, right? It's like, you don't necessarily need accountability. You don't necessarily need anything else. It's like, why aren't you doing the things that you should be doing and that would move you forward? That is like literally the key question, right? And most people think if I just had motivation to do those things, then all would be fixed. Except that motivation is just a fleeting emotion. And most people are waiting to feel motivated in order to do the things that they need to do, or want to do, or know that they should do, in order to achieve the things that they know that they want. Motivation, though, is not an emotion that should be necessarily dependent on. It is fleeting. Sometimes it is temporary. Sometimes, it is, there's a big surge of it and then it dies off. Sometimes it never comes, right? And you're just like, I've never felt motivated to do this, and and I can't find this feeling. And they're waiting and waiting and waiting, and they'll wait forever to like feel the feeling of motivation. But that it is just that. It is an emotion, and it's an emotion that cannot be necessarily relied on for long term anyway. I had somebody on my Facebook or whatever mention this, like that she's waiting to feel motivated. And I'm like, oof, yeah, no, you're going to be waiting forever. And she's like, oh, I get it. Just do it. Right. And you guys already know how I feel about the just do it mindset. And if you don't, it's in another episode. I don't know which one, but it was like a couple episodes ago. And I told her, no, that's also kind of temporary, right? Because it's the same thing. It's like a bolt of energy where you force yourself and you use willpower. And again, that is also finite. So what's the fix? Like, what do you do instead? If you're not waiting for motivation, if you're not relying on willpower, then what do you do? What is like the thing that is going to have more longevity, that is going to provide you more consistency, more discipline, all the things that is going to attribute to success in achieving the goal or thing you want? And the short answer is to find a thought and emotion that actually works better for you, that actually is a little bit more compelling for you. Maybe even the emotion is compelled, right? But what thought gives you that emotion, right? This is honestly like one of the first steps that I walk you through in my Zen AF Hustle Academy that I'm building out inside the Get Zen AF app. So again, if you guys are interested in that, there's a waitlist in my link tree for it. But anyways, the gist of it is that you really do have to find a thought and emotion, like just kind of like in a nutshell, right? Because obviously in my course, I take you through like nitty gritty, like I take you through your values and how to cross reference your values in terms of like your purpose and like your, whatever, right? I help you find all of those things. But ultimately, right, in a very kind of concise nutshell, is like what thought and emotion can you really find? And it is going to be having some of those things involved. Just naturally, you're going to involve your values. Just naturally, you're going to involve, what your purpose is. It could be like, listen, like I want to, if your goal is to lose weight, like I want to be able to, play with my kids, and not lose breath or not be too tired or whatever. Like all of that's going to have like a very much grander purpose and how it affects you and other people around you, and also some of your values involved in that. If your purpose is to, create, or if your goal, is to create a business, you want to think about like why you want that to happen, and why do you really want this? And again, naturally, your values are going to kind of play a role, and your ultimate purpose is going to be all tied into that. And you're going to be able to find a thought that really, really encapsulates something that, an emotion that actually moves you. So emotions can be something like purposeful. It can be compelled. It can be, it could even be motivated. It can be excited. It can be so many other emotions. Choose the emotion that actually moves you, that like you feel in your body, that you're just like, ugh, like it thrusts your chest forward, like I want to move, right? Because that is the emotion that you are going to be able to rely on, right? And the thought, this is helping so many people. I'm going to be able to be impactful to so many. Like I want to be an example of what's possible, which is like one of mine, right? Like in terms of like my business and stuff. This is going to help my kids and my family or whatever it is, right? And those are the thoughts that you're going to rely on when you don't have necessarily that motivation, when you're not necessarily feeling like, oh yeah, I want to like get up at 5:00 in the morning or whatever it is that I have to do, or I want to like, do this last minute, PDF or whatever, whatever the task, the like day-to-day tasks are, right? Because those big goals are all made up of like the small things that you do every single day. Hence why I always teach rituals, right? The small habits that you do every single day. Those are the things that make up the big things, right? So it is, getting yourself to do the little things every single day. And obviously that it can be daunting sometimes, because in the moment, it doesn't feel like you're moving forward. In the moment, it doesn't feel like much is happening. So that's why I also have, that other concept of celebration, where every week you force yourself to look back and say, okay, I did this. And you celebrate, maybe not losing like the 5 pounds, but maybe you celebrate that you ate, broccoli and chicken for 5 days straight. I mean, like that is a celebration. And it's those like, mundane things that I always suggest to romanticize it in the way of rituals, so that it can feel more conscious, they can feel more impactful, they can feel more purposeful in your day-to-day life. And then you remember to actually celebrate them at the end of the week, or even like day to day, like whatever. Like no, there's no rules on celebration. You can literally celebrate every single day. Anyways, like you guys know, this is my Zen AF Wellness Planner. All the concepts coming in full force, and you'll have somewhere to do all of these things basically in the planner. But anyway, all those little moments make up the big moment of like, okay, I did it. I reached this weight that I released, or I reached this income, or I reached this milestone in my business, or what have you. They all make up, all those little moments make up the big moments. So that is how you really try to find the quote unquote motivation in the little moments, is that you find a feeling and a thought that makes it, that actually works for you, that is actually going to be compelling for you or purposeful or, all those emotions, right? So those are the things that actually are going to literally and physically almost like move you forward, right? So what is that thought and what is that emotion that you are kind of going towards? And some people can find the thought first and some people can find the emotion first. So for you, notice which one you can find first and then find the other thing, right? Either the thought or the emotion after you find the thought or emotion first that worked for you. When you're able to do this, like then you are really able to tap into those other concepts like discipline and consistency and stuff like that, right? Because we're not always going to feel motivated. We're not always going to feel even those emotions that we are defining right now. But sometimes when we can locate the thought where you're like, oh, I'm an example of what's possible, or, I want to be an example for my girls or something like that. That can move you. It definitely moves me, and it moves me through the discomfort of that discipline, right? And that's where discipline kind of comes in, where it's like, okay, no, I need to do this because there's just a bigger purpose out there than just how I'm temporarily feeling, right? And it's going to move you in order to keep showing up for those mundane tasks every single day, and that's consistency. So it is the difference of really being interested in getting what you want and being basically committed to getting what you want, right? And I always use the example of like a baby, like having a newborn baby, and I obviously, like you guys know, I'm like 35 weeks pregnant right now. So and I also have 2 kids, and I'm like, for the love of me, I cannot just do whatever I want to do, right? Like I kind of had a very emotional day the other day on my birthday, and like everything in me just wanted to just be alone and be in bed, but my girls were off of school. I didn't have my nanny, and things needed to get done. Like they needed to be taken care of. I am not just interested in caring for them, right? I am committed in caring for them because I had them and all the things, right? So when you have a baby and they need to, and like kids and like whatever, they need to be fed. They cannot necessarily rely on themselves, right? So whether you are tired, whether you are sick, whether you are sad, whether doesn't matter how really you feel, you got to get up and you got to do what you need to do. And so it's some of those moments that you want to look at, like what are even the thoughts then that can get you to move. I've done this a lot in my coaching, like in my peer coaching and stuff when I was getting my certification. And one of the things that I think is just like, I just got to do it. Like I can rely on some of those, I just got to do it and get it over with or whatever, thoughts, right? They work for me. I don't know if it's because I'm a generator or what, but some of those thoughts really work for me because I have a lot of that, those little bursts of energy of pressure, right? Because I have this defined root that like allows me to kind of rely on some of that energy sometimes, right? So I just find it and I push through, and because again, I am committed to my kids, right? So I always use that example because obviously somebody's livelihood is at stake, right? And so you want to think like what makes you committed versus interested, like what makes it like you really have some skin in the game, like you are really, invested somehow in this thing. Because when you're not invested in this goal or this outcome or whatever, then it's again a lot harder. Like you're just relying a lot more on willpower and things like that, right? A lot of those fleeting emotions or that finite energy that, again, is only temporary, right? So what can you find to make it really, really compelling, really, really motivating, really, really like you got something to lose, right? And trust me, you don't want to wait until you actually have something to lose, especially within your health or the livelihood of your family or like things like that, right? You don't want to wait to get to those rock bottoms. Those lessons are available now without having to get to those rock bottoms, right? Like, again, I'm 35 weeks pregnant right now. And my abilities, I guess, even, physically, mentally, emotionally right now, are really tapped and like capped, right? They're tapped and they're capped. Like I feel like I tap them out every day and they're definitely at a cap every single day. And I mean, I look outside my window and I see you guys, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys know that I always used to go on my little like ambitious babe walks around the park outside of my house. And, there's water there and like sometimes there's dolphins and it's beautiful. And I loved going on my daily walks there. Whether sometimes I felt like it or not, I just loved getting out and getting some movement, getting some fresh air, getting some sun, things like that. And when it came to like working out there and things like that, like people used to ask me like, oh my God, like you're always out there. You're like, you do it every single day almost. And, you really motivate me and like whatever. And how do you find the motivation? And truthfully, because this is my third time around, and I've always been such an active girl, and I love running and I love walking. And I could almost get emotional thinking about it right now, but like I remember these moments right now where I don't have the ability to do that. And when I do have the ability to move the way I always move and things like that, I just don't take it for granted at all. Even though I've always been, like I said, like an active girl, an athletic girl, it's these temporary, moments where I'm not able to do the things that I'm used to doing, that I really don't take it for granted. Like, I can only imagine people that become, disabled suddenly, whatever, like in accidents or whatever. Like I could, imagine right now, like the grief that they feel like on a daily basis because it's not always noticeable, but then all of a sudden something happens in your life and you're just like, oh, I can't walk, like, or I can't see or I can't hear, like things that I usually do. And the grief that kind of pops up just on a daily basis, on a sporadic basis, that would be just so difficult. And so I'm so grateful knowing that this is just temporary. And like I said, this is what I remember, right? I remember these moments where I'm just looking outside my window and just wishing, like the weather's so beautiful and I'm wishing I could just go and move. And I can't because I'll exaggerate, what is it? Lord. Exasperate. Oh my God, I still don't know if I'm saying that right. My injuries, anyways, like I will just aggravate them. I'll make them worse, right? Because again, like there's, ligaments that are just loose right now because of the hormone relaxin that happens, and my pelvis is just off, and like, the weight that I'm not used to carrying is doing its thing. So like just walking and standing idly is not doesn't feel like a good move for me right now. So I still go do work, strength training and stuff, but I've really made a commitment that like when I'm done, obviously with having this baby, obviously it's my last one. I've already tried to do so many things in order to like really fix my injuries, but like I'm going to really find a way to run again because that's something that I really, really, really miss and I have not been able to do for years. And so I'm committed to do that. I'm motivated to do that. And I'm probably going to think about this moment for myself and remember, like, when it gets hard or when I'm thinking like, oh, that's the last thing I want to do is go run or whatever. Like I will think about this moment right now and remember that this is all I wanted was to be able to move my body in the way that I've always loved to do, to move it. So all this to say is just don't wait till those rock bottom moments in order to appreciate or really find that motivation or what have you. Like now is the time. Like really, it really is. Now is the time. Just understand that you're going to just trade one discomfort for the other right now. Whatever you are doing, whatever you are wanting, is causing you discomfort already, right? Not having the money or not like losing the weight, whatever it is. You're already uncomfortable, and that's what you really want to notice. And another thing that I feel like really helps with like quote unquote like motivation is that most people are looking at like what they're going to lose, right? They're going to lose their time, they're going to lose money, they're going to lose, maybe potentially lose face, like rejection or risk or being embarrassed or whatever. Like they're going to lose something. You really want to think about what you're going to gain. And that also feeds into that purpose, that ultimate why, and that is going to feed you the thought that is going to give you the emotion that will move you. So this, again, like I said, feeds into consistency, feeds into discipline, and it also feeds into this concept that I have called push or be kind. And so if you guys want me to kind of elaborate on that, I would love to do that next week. But yeah, if this was useful for you, I would love to hear your feedback. If you are so compelled to leave us a positive review, that would be amazing too. And as you guys know, I'm really being more intentional with this podcast because I've had it for so many years, but I've just been kind of using it as, I've been uploading, like IG lives and things like that. I've erased all of those, hopefully. And I kind of restarted not too long ago. So if you guys found this useful and you want to share your favorite takeaways, leave us a review. Tag me at Julia Garcia Devaney. I love to hear back from you. All right, I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening, Ambitious Babe. If you loved this episode, take a screenshot and share your favorite takeaways with me at Julia Garcia Devaney, and be sure to leave us a review, as that would mean so much. And if you're ready to put the Zen back into your hustle and love your ambitious journey, be sure to download the Get Zen AF app, where you'll learn to prioritize yourself and truly become the #1 asset in your life and business. It's available in the App Store and Google Play. Check out the links in the show notes, and I'll see you inside.